go. So an early morning here, just on my way into work, and I figured I would do a 6-month review of my Dodge Challenger SRT8, my 2009. So I found it hard to believe that I've owned this awesome vehicle for 6 months already. I haven't put too many miles on. I think I put about 400 miles on this vehicle. Most of it was just driving back. I'm very busy with work, so I don't get to drive this vehicle a lot. And you know what? That's totally okay with me here. I do want to keep the miles low on this machine as it's one of my dream vehicles. But over the 6 months, what have I learned? You know, what have I done to the vehicle? What are the pros? What are the cons? So here's the first thing. This is a 6-speed manual. Tremec 6060 6-speed manual. The legs are long on this. You can really rev this out, but it is pretty fast revving. That is for sure. If you're gonna buy one of these vehicles, especially a Challenger, you gotta make sure you have a manual. I just think I have a 300 SRT8 with that 5-speed from Mercedes-Benz, and it's a slow transmission, guys. It's definitely not up to snuff of where the ZF 8-speeds are of today. But this in a manual is such a, I want to say, a rare-ish car, because the manual is a dying breed on how to drive. Not a lot of people, especially younger people my age, don't know how to drive the manual anymore. So to actually have one and drive it occasionally is pretty dang cool. Transmission is a little cold this morning, but it is so much fun to rip through the gears, especially 6 of them. Oh, man, I just love it. I just love it. I don't care if you're going slow. I don't care if you're going fast. It's just so much fun to rip through the gears in this Challenger. So you gotta make sure you get the manual transmission. But over 6 months, I haven't had anything go wrong with the vehicle. I've barely driven the vehicle, and I would assume that a lot of you looking at this video, or a lot of you purchasing a car like this, whether it's the automatic or the manual, this is not going to be your daily driver. You know, it's an older car. It's a 2009, so this just may not be your car to do a daily driver vehicle. That may be reserved for the automatic, or that may just not be reserved for this vehicle at all, to tell you the honest truth. But I have put on about, like I said, 400 or 500 miles now, probably closer to 500 miles since I actually bought the vehicle. I should see if I can look here. Yeah, about 500 miles. So I just haven't driven it that much. I maybe drive it once every week or two here. As the golf season progresses, that's my job. I have a little bit more time in the summertime because I'm not doing as many projects, so I will drive it more then. But again, like I said, all I had to do was just throw on a set of tires. I've got some Toyo Proxies for the rear, and that was basically it. So the $500 and some odd dollars it cost to install and purchase the tires, that's all I've had to put in this vehicle, and I knew I had to buy that when I actually purchased the vehicle, because these rear tires were pretty well roasted off, I would say. Not necessarily for me. I don't like to do that to my tires, but those were the original tires that were on the vehicle after 36,000 and some miles. So they needed to be replaced anyway. I don't like driving on older tires, but oh yes, here we go. off the rev limiter, which I've only done a couple times, is pretty freaking awesome. One negative I don't like, just like in that situation right there where I did a slow climb up in first gear, it forces you to shift into fourth gear. So it does that, and I know GM does this too. It does that first to fourth shift, and sometimes I want to go into second gear, even when I'm revving up slower like that, but it forces you to do the first to fourth shift. And to tell you the truth, I don't necessarily like that a lot. I know it's for fuel economy, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get 15 miles a gallon regardless, so why does it matter? That's at least in my opinion. Sixth gear I like. It's a long gear. It's almost like an old school overdrive, which I do drive in sixth gear a lot. I know a lot of people don't, but I don't mind it in sixth gear, especially with a louder exhaust. I don't have to worry about the drone, which there is no drone. I mean the noise, the decibel levels. So we're going 60 right now in fifth, and you can kind of hear when you step on it, it's a little bit louder. So these earlier mornings here, if it's 5 o'clock and I'm driving to work and I need to be a little bit more quiet, then I can shift it into sixth gear, which is nice. But again, hitting on that first to fourth shift, not the most ideal thing, not my favorite thing at all, especially when you're driving through town and you kind of want to be a little bit louder. I don't like the first to fourth shift. What else have I learned over the last 6 months? It's a looker. Everybody looks at this car, and I'm not one to roll down my windows in my vehicles, but I absolutely love to roll down my windows, and my windows are tinted too, so people can't see in here. So I don't mind rolling down my windows and when I'm driving through town or whatever, so people can actually see into the vehicle and see it's me and my nice loud high horsepower Challenger SRT8. Excuse me. I just get a grin and a smile on this vehicle every time I have to drive it through a populated area, because everybody knows it's a loud and fast car, which is pretty sweet, and the exhaust does sound good on this vehicle. I had to put a cold air intake on the vehicle, so I ended up going with a Spectre cold air intake. So it's got the aluminum pipe and then the intake itself. I don't necessarily like that one as much. I don't get an intake noise on that as much as my BBK on my 300 SRT8. So I kind of like the BBK the best. This does add a decent amount of performance though, for sure, and it definitely makes it sound better, but the BBK just brings in more intake noise, and I personally like the intake noise more than the exhaust. I'm not even shifting fast. I am no expert in manual shifting. I mean, I haven't, before I bought this car, I didn't drive a manual for years. 7-8 years. At least I knew how to drive it, but I didn't know how to shift fast or anything like that. So if you're looking actually at a good car to learn on, this Tremec is a great transmission. You can either get this in a 5.7 or the 6.1 or even the newer 6.4 now. And it's a really easy transmission or manual gearbox to learn on. Manual transmission. The clutch is extra heavy. That is for sure. It's definitely not light. You have to have a strong left foot. And that would make this car a little bit tougher to daily if you did live in a city, which again, I don't know who's dailying this vehicle. So yes, the clutch is heavy. To find that engagement point is difficult, in my opinion. It's just not like a light clutch. But I do have to say, this is an easy transmission to learn on. You can mess up for sure, yes, but the chances of you messing up on this are a little bit more slim, because this car is meant for everybody. So they have to make it usable for everybody, even dummies like me who aren't a master at The infotainment is fine. I used to have this infotainment system in my Chrysler 200 hardtop convertible, actually, and I really like that Uconnect system. It's not the 8.4 inch, it's the older, whatever, Uconnect 6-inch system, 7-inch system, but at least it's touchscreen. That is for sure. Comes with navigation. I always thought the navigation system was really nice in this. I don't mind this. The one thing I am missing though are the buttons behind the steering wheel. This steering wheel is of course older. This is probably the worst part of the vehicle, is the steering wheel. It's so big and it's so round that there's a little bit of a 10 and 2 notch for grip, but there's definitely nothing like the new SRT wheels. My parents have that in their Durango, and it's just so nice to grab onto the wheel and actually have some grip in the 9 and 2 and a flat bottom to deal with. So the steering wheel, not a fan of that. Over 6 months I had this vehicle. I'm absolutely in love with it. I'm not getting rid of it anytime soon, and that takes a lot for me, as I like to switch out vehicles quite a bit. But I have to say, excuse me, it's an early morning. I am impressed with the vehicle. I'm impressed with all the options this has. Again, manual transmission, comes with track pack, mechanical locking differential. Third gear is really your gear you want to be in. God, it just sounds like it's breathing fire. It really is just an awesome, awesome, awesome sounding vehicle. Alright guys, we're going to take this in the shop, take a look at it on the outside quick, and kind of show you what I really like about the exterior about this vehicle and what issues I have had, if any, over 6 months. One more little acceleration, well, just so you can hear it. So if we're taking a look on the outside of this vehicle, it's actually held up pretty well. You can see there's some ickiness I need to wipe off of the vehicle, but it really looks nice, and the previous owner did a great job at taking care of it. I have some bug spots from driving home last night, but the paint is really immaculate. No marring. I did a paint correction on it. This is actually some high quality paint here, especially if you are, looking to keep this as a collector's car, which I am. It is definitely some good quality paint. You can work on it, you can do what you need to do, and it'll hold up to, any sort of torture or whatever. But again, here's that awesome exhaust system on it. Just got that awesome retro look. These Toyo Proxies, I had to put those on the vehicle, of course, because the rear ones were bald, and I needed new tires on there anyway. But just an awesome looking vehicle here, and really glad I've been able to have this over the last 6 months. It's really been a tremendous car. So, guys, that'll do it for this 6-month review of this Dodge Challenger SRT8. I've had nothing but great memories with this car so far, and I'm looking forward to owning this for another 6 months. All right, guys, like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.